Welcome back. In this video, we're going to go over the box. Just a reminder, there are no due dates on the assignments. You can turn in the assignments as you go, or you can wait till the end of the 8-week course. I'll leave it up to you. Okay, so if at any time during this video you feel this is too overwhelming, then wait for the tutorials. The tutorials walk you through each command one step at a time. There will be one video on how to create points, simple 5-minute video, how to create lines, that'll be a separate video, and so on. So if this is too much up front, then wait to go over some of the tutorials and then come back to this problem, the box. Okay, so our goal is to create the box using wireframe and surfacing. We're going to do it the old school way, the difficult way. We're not going to use solids. We're not going to use sketch. We're not going to sketch a profile and extrude or pad or use whole command. That's too easy. We're going to do it the hard way. And this is to improve on your wireframe and surfacing skills. All right, so I'm going to walk you step by step. I do not have a handout that'll show you step by step. Click here, click there. I'll just go through it step by step on the video, and you can either follow my steps. If you want to try something different, go for it. All right, so here we have this box, and I decided to make the back corner my origin. That'll be 0, 0, 0. That's where my axis is at. Okay, and this is in inches, so let's go ahead and convert our units to inches. Okay, so let me go ahead and close this. By the way, before I close it, I want to show you in the background all the wireframe and surfacing and patches that it took to create the final product. Okay. All right, so once again, I'm going to use the back corner here as my origin. I'll call this, this will be 0, 0, 0, XYZ, 0, 0, 0. That'll be my origin. If you want to start with the origin someplace else, I'll leave it up to you. All right, so let's go ahead and start from scratch. Okay, so when you first open CATIA, go to Start, Shape, Generative Shape Design. And if you want, you can name it here if you like. We'll call it the box. I'll call it 2021 because I have different versions of it. Okay, so if you have the option to create a geometric set, it'll load a geometric set into the tree. So here we go. We're going to hit OK. Okay, and there's my geoset. Okay, so if I didn't have a geoset, let me go ahead and delete this one. Let's say yours looks like this. Okay, so I deleted my geoset and axis. I can always go ahead and insert a geoset. Okay, so geometric set, insert it. And the first one, I'm going to call it wireframe. Okay, so my lines, points, planes, etc. I can put it all in this one folder. Okay, so just a reminder, part body. So if we were creating solids, we would place our geometry in part body, but we're not creating solids. We're going to create wireframe, and then we'll create a geoset for surfaces. Just a reminder, it's okay if you want to put all your wireframe, points, planes, surfaces, and part body, you can still do it. The only problem is if something changes and your model is trying to update, it'll turn red. You're just going to have difficulty going back and making changes and updates. It forces you to keep things in order, like a family tree. A wireframe folder, you don't have to keep things in order. You can move things up and down. You can have grandparents on top or the children on top, or parents at the bottom. You can change the order of the family tree. Okay, so it's better to do it in wireframe. If later on you find yourself in that situation where everything's just going red, I'm going to just be upfront and tell you start from scratch, or you're going to be going in circles forever. I know how to troubleshoot, but that takes years of experience on how to fix something that's out of place in a family tree. Again, in a wireframe folder, or I should say a geometric set, things do not have to be in order. All right, so your planes. So my planes are hidden. You can see they're grayed out. They're in the background. Okay, so this is the no-show layer. If I click here, this is the no-show. See, there they are in the background hidden. I can always right-click and show. So now it's going to the view or the visible layer. Show it. See how it's no longer grayed out. So if I go back to the visible layer, there they are. Okay, so this is probably what you have. If you want to insert an axis, you may. Okay, so if you want to create an axis, here we have it here. It's optional. I'm going to go ahead and insert an axis just so we can practice how to insert an axis. Notice it drops at the default. It's where all three planes intersect, our X, Y, Y, Z, and ZX plane. That's the origin. So the default position is 0, 0, 0. Okay, so I'm just going to say OK, default position. Okay, and there it is. There's my axis. You can place multiple axes in different locations. One good example is for a fuselage on an aircraft, you can set up an axis towards the nose or towards the front of the fuselage. Another location to set up an axis would be at the wings. So if somebody's modeling the wing of the aircraft, you want to set up an axis at the wing location so it's easier to model. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and insert a point. Actually, I don't have to insert a point at 0, 0, 0. I can just use the origin. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and insert one anyway, even though we can use the origin of the axis. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a point. So let me start by resetting my toolbars, and let me first change my units. Okay, so tools. So again, let's check and see if we're in millimeters or inches. So go to tools options. Okay, so here on the tree, click on the plus where you see general, go to parameters and measure, go to the units tab, and we're already set to inches. Again, if we were not, you can go to the drop down and pick your units. There's a lot of options, right? Okay, so we'll stick with inches. And these are the decimal places. All right, so hit OK. Okay, so right now my toolbars are not in the default position. So I'm going to go ahead and just right click on any icon. Go to all the way down to customize. Okay, all the way down to customize, and we're going to go to toolbars and restore position. Okay, click restore, and then you're going to see all the toolbars go back to the default positions, and hit OK. And there they are. Okay, so some of the commands we need are probably stuck here on the bottom right corner. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close. All right, so again, sometimes you need a command. It's somewhere hidden here in the corner. We have to dig out the toolbar, and we'll do that when we need to. All right, so let's go ahead and start. So we're going to insert a point. Okay, so here's the point command. Also, you can also go insert wireframe point command. Okay, that's another option. Okay, so I'm going to click on point, and I'm going to locate it at 0, 0, 0. That's the origin. So you can type in coordinates. You can put points on a curve, a plane, a surface, center of a circle, sphere. Again, there will be a tutorial just going over the point command, and also one for line command and so on. Okay, so we'll go with the default coordinates 0, 0, 0 and OK. All right, it's a little difficult to see the point, so I'm going to change my properties. I'm going to go to right click, wireframe, geometric set, right click, properties. This is optional. Okay, go to graphic, My graphics card is not so great, so maybe if you have a newer or faster computer than mine, you'll see the points light up when you change the properties here. So here it is, graphics tab. I'm going to go with yellow, and I'm going to use square. Okay, maybe it's a little difficult to see, but there it is. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start my first line. I'm going to draw the line, the back edge. Okay, so let's go to the handout. Okay, so I'm going to draw this line. Okay, so this is 475. So this is a length of 475. Okay, so I'm going to locate a point here at 475 in this direction. Okay, we're going to use different methods on how to create points, lines, surfaces. So I'm going to try and go over each type of or different types of commands, just to introduce you to all the commands or most of the commands in the surfacing workbench. All right. Okay, so again, 475. All right, so in the Y direction, right, I'm going to go in the Y. Let me go ahead and hit isometric view, line it up. So I hit isometric view. All right, so let's go ahead and insert another point. Okay, so I'm going to go 475 in the Y direction. Okay, I'm not going to go in the X direction. I'm not going to go in the Z direction. I'm just going to go 475 in the Y direction. Here it is, the Y direction. Okay, so I can either hit the button here, right? If you don't like the increments, maybe you want to go in increments of 0.1 or maybe increments of 10. You can always right click, change step. So you can go in increments of 1 inch every time you hit the arrow to increase or decrease. Or you can do a new one. You can click on new one and go with maybe 0.1. So that way every time you hit the button, it'll go 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and so on. Okay, so that's an option just to show you real quick. New one. Hey, I want to go in steps of 0.1. When I hit the upward or downward arrow, hit OK. Right, so now when I increase, it'll go in increments of 0.1. Okay, you can always go back, just right click. And so first right click, go to change step. I can go back to 1 inch increments, right? So now it's going to go from 4.6 to 5.6 and so on. Or I can just type in 4.75. That's the length I want. And enter. And there's my point. All right, so now I can go ahead and draw a line from the origin to my new point. Okay, so let's go back and just double check we got the right length. Yep, 475. So we're going to draw this line that we see back here, this dashed line, a hidden line. Let's draw that edge. All right, so we've been using the point command, and now we're going to use the line command. Okay, so let's go with line command. Okay, so line command. And we're going to go point to point. There's a bunch of options. And again, on the tutorial, it'll walk you through all the different types of ways you can define a line. Okay, so we're going to stick with point to point. Okay, so I'm going to go point. So now it's asking me for the second point. If you see here on the bottom left corner, you can see it's asking for the second point. Look at the bottom left corner. Okay, go for a second point. Okay, and once again, you can always use the green arrows. You'd be surprised how many CATIA designers that I work with, I'd say maybe 90%, don't know that you can just pull on these green arrows. So I can pull on the green arrows if I want. You can go beyond. Okay, so you can go beyond the point if you like. So you can see. Or we can just leave it at 0. So you can extend beyond the points if you like. All right, we're good. Okay, so hit OK. All right, so I'm going to change the color of the lines. I'm going to right click on the geoset. Again, this is optional. Properties, graphic. So the first coloring here, we see it's for the surface. This is for the edges of the surface. And the third one is for our lines. I'll make them cyan, make them a little bit thicker, just so they stand out. Okay, and there they are, or there it is. Okay, so we got our first line. Ta-da! Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, now let's create this line. Okay, so this is 325. So the back edge that you see here in the dashed line, that's 325. I'll show you another way of creating a line. Okay, so the first line we did was point to point. Now I'm going to show you how to create a line by using just one point. Okay, so let's go to line command. Line command. And this time we're going to say point with direction. Okay, so let's use the second option, point, direction. Okay, so notice what's highlighted is point, so it's asking me for a point. Okay, so I'm going to pick the origin. Now direction. We can pick a line, an edge, an existing line or edge. We can also go normal to planes. Or we can simply right-click inside, right-click, and we're going to go in the X direction. Okay, we're going to go in the X direction. Okay, so right-click, go in the X. And we can now use the green arrows to extend it, right? Okay, so we're going to make this 325, 3.25, and enter. All right, so there's our line. Now we're going to do that vertical line, the back edge. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so now let's do this back edge. Okay, the height of this one is 0.75. Oh, actually, there it is, 1 inch. I was going to say 0.75 plus 0.25 is 1 inch. Okay, so this length is 1 inch. Actually, I just realized I'm double dimensioning. One of them has to be a reference in parentheses. Okay, so this is a 1 inch height. So let's go ahead and do that vertical back edge. All right, so let's do it the same way we did the second line. So line command. All right, so we'll do point and direction again. So pick the origin. And see where it says direction. Instead of going in the Z vertical, right, we can go Z direction. Right, we can go Z. You know what, I'm going to go back here in direction and say, hey, I want to go normal to one of the planes. Let's see what happens when I pick a plane. So XY. So this surface here is XY, so it's going perpendicular to XY. Let's see what happens when we pick YZ and hit preview. Oh, my mistake. Let me clean this up. I want to clear. I was in the wrong area. Clear. So direction, going back to direction. So I misclicked, went to support. That's if you want to draw a line on a surface, and that'll be covered in the tutorial for line command. Okay, so going back to direction, what happens if I pick YZ? See, this is YZ. With the YZ plane, it goes normal, perpendicular, right? Going back to direction, right, and select it. Go to ZX. See, now it goes normal to the ZX surface. 90 degrees, perpendicular. Okay, let me just go back and pick the XY plane. Okay, so you can see the XY plane is highlighted. This is the XY plane, so going perpendicular. And we're going to go a height of 1. Okay, so we're going to type in 1. And preview, there it is. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, you can also go in the opposite direction. See, you can go in the opposite direction. In the minus direction. So right here where we started, this was our starting point. You can go in the opposite direction. You can even go positive if you like. Okay, I believe you can go positive. Let's find out. Oh. Let me increase the opposite side. There it is. So the two endpoints ended up meeting, giving us a length of 0. But there it is. We have a 1 inch offset for the from the starting point. And then from the end point, we have a 2 inch length. Okay, so this is 1, this is 2, but that's not what we want. Let's go back to start, turn it down to 0, and the end one will be 1. Okay, there it is, length of 1. Maybe a little confusing at first, but I wanted to go over this because sometimes it gets confusing as to, hey, what do they mean by start, by up to, by end? You can go up to a surface, but we'll cover that in the tutorial. All right, and you can also reverse direction. So you can go in the opposite direction. And okay. All right, so there it is. Okay, so this is the rear. So I'm holding on to the wheel. I click on the wheel, hold, and I can pan left and right. Okay. All right, so let's go back. All right, so let's go ahead and create this line. This is 0.75. So I'm going to speed it up a little bit. We're going to go from this line, we're going to go 0.75 and then 1 inch and then 0.25. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and create all this wireframe. All right. So 0.75 and then 1 inch and then 0.25. Okay. So we're going to use the line command. We're going a little faster now. Line command. Okay. So point and direction again. So point, direction, right click. We're going to go in the Z direction, right? Z. There it is, Z. And we're going to go 0.75. So right here where it says 1, our endpoint from the start is not 1, but 0.75. Type in 0.75. And you can hit preview, right? So there it is, height of 0.75 and OK. Now we're going to go 1 inch in the X direction and the negative direction. Okay, so let's do line command again. Line. Okay, so we're going to start from this point. And we're going in the X direction. Right click. X direction. Notice it's going in the wrong direction, so I can always hit reverse. There it is, reverse. And we're going to type in 1 for the endpoint. Preview. So this is length of 1. And OK. And now we're going to go 0.25 up. Okay, so let's do it again. Line command. Point and direction. Once again, point and direction and pick your point. And we're going to go in the Z direction. So right click Z and type in 0.25. 0.25 and preview. There it is, 0.25. And OK. And all we have to do is close this off. So we can connect point to point to close off this profile. So line command. We're going to go point to point. So let's see if everything looks good after we create this line to close the profile. Yep, it looks right. This looks parallel to the x-axis. Yeah, these two look parallel. Looks good, point to point. Okay, preview and OK. And there's our profile. Okay, so that's our first close profile. And I know some of you are thinking, I could have done this faster in Sketch or Sketcher, right? And you are correct. But again, for our assignments, we are not allowed to use Sketch. And yes, we do have Sketch in the generative shape design. It's the same Sketch that you have in part design. In our final project, and again, we'll talk more about our projects in a later video. On our final project, I will allow you to use Sketch if you like to create lines and profiles. Okay. All right. So now let's do some surfacing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a surface. And notice that this is a planar profile, meaning that it's on the ZX plane. Okay. So all this is on the same plane. Happens to be the ZX plane. Okay. So it's important to know that. Okay, so let's going to go ahead and introduce you to a new command. It's the fill command. So using a profile, we're going to fill this area with the surface. Okay, so this is the fill command that you see here. It's under the surfaces toolbar. And we have fill. Okay, so let's go ahead and fill this area. All right, so let's look for fill, and there it is. Fill command. Okay, so click on fill. Okay, so when you do the fill command, you have to go in order, either clockwise or counterclockwise. If you miss a line, it's better if you just start over. It's going to be confusing trying to reorganize your lines. So if you skip one, it'll let you know. It'll tell you there's an error. Okay, I'm going to intentionally make that mistake. Okay, so I'm going to start with this vertical and work my way around clockwise. Okay, so I'm going to intentionally skip this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. So go in order. So right now it's telling me, hey, it's not closed yet. It's still open. It has to be a closed profile. So let's go on to the next one. It's saying, okay. See, there's a gap between these 2 points. It's still not closed, and you keep going. Okay, now there's a gap between these two, and so on. Now let's say I skip this one by accident. This is next, but I'm going to skip it. And I go to the next one. See, and it's telling you, hey, you missed something. You messed up, right? So it's telling me there's a gap there of 6.35 millimeters. Not sure why it's not giving me the gap in inches, but there it is. Okay. So let me just cancel. I can always do reorder and remove and restart. You can always go ahead and remove. You know what? Let's go ahead and show remove. So this is curve 5. My mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so it didn't allow me to select this one. It took it off the list. Okay, good. So it's telling us, hey, there's something wrong here. If it still shows up red, error message, then we'll start over. Okay, so let's select this one. Okay, good. It did like it. So it does recognize that this was the next line. So curve 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And see, here's the last one. Curve 6. There it is. And anytime you see a closed contour in cyan, that's good. We have a close profile, and it's going to fill it up as a surface. So let's hit preview. And there's our first surface. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK. Again, you have to go in order, clockwise or counterclockwise. If you skip one by mistake, you will get that red error message. Easy way again is to start over again. All right, so let's go ahead and add some color. Now I should have placed this in a different geoset. If you want to leave it the way it is, I'm okay with it. If you want to put everything in one geoset, all your geometry, that's fine. But just keep in mind when you go work for a company, it's good to be organized. Think of it as a binder. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a new geoset, and I'll call it surfaces. And I'm going to hit OK. All right, so this fill is a surface, right? So I can either drag it into the new geoset, or I can right-click, cut, and paste. Okay, so there's a few options. So let me do it the safe way. I'm going to right-click, cut, and paste it in the new geoset, and paste. Okay, so that's one option. Another way is to drag things from one folder to another, or one geoset to another. So if I left mouse click, hold, should be able to drag it back. Okay, so that's one option, right? I can always drag it back from the tree here, or I think I can drag it from the model. Let's see if I can left mouse click, hold the surface, and drag it into. Yep, you can also do it straight from the model. I don't recommend this if it's a large file. You may end up freezing your computer, freezing up the software. If it's something small, you can go ahead and just drag and drop. All right, so let me add some color. Okay, so I'm going to right-click Properties. And when I work with large files, or if I'm dealing with large surfaces, I like to go with soft colors. It's just easier on the eye. Okay, so pick whatever color you like. I'll go with the soft color. I'm going to go with the green color. You may choose whatever color you like. Watch how it's just a lot easier right now. There's a lot of light reflecting off of this vanilla colored surface. I'm going to go with green and apply. It's not applying to it yet. Let's see. Hit OK. Now let me hit apply. There it is. See, it's just a lot softer. Okay, and hit OK. All right, so we have our first surface. Ta-da! Okay, so I'm going to speed things up a little bit more. If you get stuck, you can always rewind the video. All right, so let's go on to the next one. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on this top portion right here. Okay, so I'm going to go from, I'll do it from let's do it from the bottom here. I'm going to draw these 3 lines. Okay, so this has a length of 0.50. Okay, so I'll go 0.50. And this has a length of, let's see, this overall length, whatever it is, we're going to have to subtract 0.50. I'm going to have to come back to it. All right, let's start with this one. Okay, so this is a length of 0.50. And then we'll go a length of 0.50 to locate this point. All right, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of math. It's going to be 325. So this length is 325 minus 1 minus 0.50. I was looking for an overall length of this edge, but we just have to take 325 minus 1 minus 0.50. Let's go ahead and do that one first. Okay, so actually I'm going to have to come back to it because we don't have this line yet. So let me go 1 inch and then 0.25. Sorry, had to go back and rethink this. So yeah, let's start with this edge first. All right, so let's go with the 1 inch length. Okay, so let's go with the 1 inch length and then we'll come down 0.25. Sorry about the confusion. All right, so let's go line command again, line. Okay, so we're going to go point and direction again. Point and direction, just pick this point and we'll go in the Y direction. Okay, so right click, Y direction. I believe there was 1 inch. Preview, there it is. And okay. Now, notice it's white and not cyan. Notice it's in the wrong geoset. So we can always drag. So left mouse click and there it is. Now when I deselect and just click in space, it's back to cyan. Okay, so any new wireframe we create, we want it to drop into this geoset. So you can just right click, define, and it'll underline it. When we're ready to create surfaces, go to surfaces, right click, define, and any new geometry will drop into that geoset. All right, so there it is. It's underlined. So any new geometry will fall into this geoset. All right, so now we're going to go 0.25 down. Okay, so line command, point and direction, point, right click. We're going to go in the Z. Oh, I picked the wrong option. I don't want point to point. I want point direction. There it is. Already selected the point. So let's go to direction, left mouse click. It's blue. And right click Z and hit reverse. And we'll go 0.25. 0.25 and preview. And hit OK. All right, so now we got to draw this line. This is where I got stuck earlier, right? Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so we're going to draw this line. So we just drew this line 1 inch and then 0.25 down. Now let's draw this line. All right, so once again, that line is 325 minus 1 minus 0.50. Okay, so let's use our calculator. Okay, so 3.25 minus, so 325 minus 1 minus 0.50 equals 175. So the length is 175. Okay, so let's use line command again. Line, point and direction. Okay, so point, direction. Pick this point. And I'm going to go in the X direction. Right click in the direction. If it's not blue, left mouse click, So now it's blue, it's waiting for an input. And you can see on the bottom left corner it's asking for direction. Right click, and we're going to go in the X direction. Right, we're going to go in the X direction, X. All right, so now you can have CATIA do the math for you. Okay, so once again, we did the calculation of 325 minus 1 minus 0.5 is 175. We can have CATIA do the math for us, in case you were not aware of it. Okay, so where it says end, 0.25. So right now it's going 0.25. We can highlight that. Okay, and we're going to type in 3.25 minus 1 minus 0.50. Okay, and then just click away, anywhere, click away, and it'll do the math. There it is, 175. One thing to be aware of is the units. If you have units here, let's say I wanted to subtract 1 from 175. Notice how there's units. Either you have to get rid of the units, either backspace and remove them, or you would have to type in, let's say you wanted to remove an extra inch, minus 1. Because you have inches behind the 175, you also have to put inches behind our minus 1, or else it will not do the math for you. So if there's inches, you need to subtract or add with inches. If it's millimeters, you need to add or subtract millimeters. Okay, and it'll do the math for you, or else it'll give you an error message if you don't have inches in both, or you can just simply remove the inches from both. Okay, so just wanted to point that out. All right, so 175 is our length, and okay, there it is. All right, so now let's go back here. We'll go to this bottom corner, right? I believe it's 0.5, and then we'll connect it. All right, so let's go back. Okay, so we have this lower line, and this is 0.5. So let's draw this line, 0.5, and then we'll connect. All right, going back. Okay, so from this point, we'll go in 0.5, so line come in again. Okay, point in direction. Pick your point. Direction will be in the Y. Okay, so we're going in the Y direction. Okay, so Y direction, and it's 0.5, 0.50, preview. There it is, and okay. Okay, notice it's all dropping in the wireframe, and now we can connect them. All right, let's go ahead and connect those two lines, or those two endpoints, using point to point. So using line command, point to point, we can now connect them. And make sure this is zeroed out, preview, and okay. And there it is. Okay, now we can go back and do the top portion of it, right? So we can go back now and do this top portion of this block, or this upper surface. But that's too easy, or I should say that takes too long. We're going to go ahead and start creating surfaces without using the top edges. Okay, just remember the length is 0.25, or the step has a height of 0.25. So let's go back. Okay, so instead of having to draw those edges, I'm going to go ahead and create a surface using extrude. Okay, so let me introduce you to extrude if you're not familiar with it yet. Okay, so we're going to use extrude. Okay, it's very similar to pad, except we're going to extrude an edge and turn it a line and turn it into a surface. Okay, so let's do extrude. Okay, so here's extrude. So click on extrude, and we're going to extrude this edge first, or this line first, and we're going to go in the Z direction. Okay, so let's go in the Z direction, right click, Z direction, there it is, right? We can see it now, and it's a length of 0.25, 0.25. And preview. And there it is. We have our surface. And hit OK. All right, so notice it's in the wrong geoset because the wireframe properties has surfaces in that vanilla color. And my surface is in that green color. So I'm going to just left mouse click and drag and drop it into the correct geoset. Okay, so when you create surfaces, I'm rolling the wheel to move the tree up and down. By the way, if you ever turn off your tree by mistake, it's the F3 command. Okay, so on your keyboard, top row, F3 will turn your tree on and off. Okay. All right, so let's do it again. Okay, so right click, define. It's already defined, it's underlined. So it'll drop the next surface in here. Okay, let's do it again. Extrude. Okay, so here's my profile or my line, and we're going to go in the Z direction again. Z, right? There it is, 0.25. Yep, it remembers the last input of 0.25, and okay. All right, so now we need to, let me rotate slightly, get a better view. Okay, so now let's do this one. Okay, same thing. Let's go ahead and extrude. Extrude, I'm going to pick our profile. And instead of going in the Z, I'm going to show you that I can also use a line. Let's say I mess up and click on the wrong line and click this one. So direction can also be a line. So you can see that? So, oh, I picked the wrong direction. Let me click back where it says direction. Click, left mouse click, it'll turn blue. It's waiting for an input. And let's use this one, the vertical one. Let me zoom in a little bit more. It's not letting me click the other one. Okay, so let me right click and I should be able to clear other selection. Okay, so I'm right clicking other selection. Nope, that's not what I want. I'm trying to get it to clear. Surprised it doesn't have a clear. All right, so I'm going to have to go to Z. Surprised it's not allowing me to click. Let me see if I can do it from the tree. Oh, there it is. For some reason, I couldn't click here physically. I think it's because I'm not zoomed in far enough. But that's line number 9. At least for me, it's line number 9. Okay. Okay, I can decrease this, right? Using the green arrows or type in 0.25. Preview, there it is. And okay. All right, so I must have misclicked earlier. I wasn't selecting right, or maybe I had to zoom in further to grab this line for direction. Okay, so there it is. As you can see, I'm rotating. Okay, so when you rotate, first use your wheel. Pick a point, click with the wheel, and it'll center that point. Then hold on to the wheel, click the wheel again, right click on the mouse, hold the wheel and the right button to rotate. Okay, I can always go back to isometric view. There it is. Hold the wheel to pan, to pan. Another option is you can always grab the arcs on the compass to rotate. Cool little trick you may not be aware of. See, I can use the arcs to rotate about an axis. I can also grab the top of the compass. I know it's hard to see. This little sphere at the top. And you can rotate, right? Let me go back to isometric view. Another option is to click on the actual letters, the XYZ letters. So if I pick Y, see, it'll go normal to Y. If I pick it again, it'll rotate it 180. Pick the X, normal to X. Pick the Z. Okay, if you pick Z again, it'll flip it 180. Let's go back to isometric view. Okay, so cool little tricks to be aware of. All right, so now let's close off the top and we're going to use fill again. Okay, so let's use the fill command again to cover the top portion. Okay, so let's use fill. Okay, in case you forgot what does it look like, here it is, fill command. All right, so let's use fill. And again, this time we'll go counterclockwise. So you have to go in order. So I'll start here, work my way counterclockwise. Make sure you don't miss an edge or you get that error message. And success, right? We see the cyan close contour flag letting us know that you're good. Preview. There it is. It fills it up. It's filled up and okay. All right, so let me hit isometric again. There we have it. Okay, so we're done with that portion. Okay, so let's move on to the left side. We're going to leave the right side for last, or I should say this side here also. It's the most difficult part. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start creating some of these lines. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw this line, or we can just do the bottom. Let's do this line, this one, and then we'll go in. Okay, so this is 150. So 150 and then 0.50. So we'll do the bottom periphery lines at the base. All right, so let's go with 150. Okay, so we're going into wireframe. So I'm going to right click on the wireframe geoset, define, right click define, it'll underline it. So now any new geometry will fall into that geoset. Okay, so let's use line command. Once again, line, let's go point and direction. Okay, so here's our point. And direction will go in the Y. Okay, so we're going in the Y direction. And I believe it was 150. 1.50. And okay. Okay, so this is 150. Double check. Yes, 150. And then we're going to go outward, 0.50. Okay, so now we're going to go in the X, 0.50. Line command again. Point direction. Okay, so point direction, pick your point. And we're going to go in the X direction, right click, X. And we're going to go 0.50. And preview. And okay. There it is. Now let's go with this line. Okay, so this line is 250 minus 150, so that's 1 inch. Okay, let's go a length of 1 inch. Okay, so line, point direction, pick your point. We'll go in the Y direction. And we're going to go a length of 1. Preview. There it is, and okay. All right. Let's go ahead and build some more surfaces. We'll keep using extrude because it's fast. Then I'll introduce you to some other ones. Okay, so let's use extrude. So let's do these surfaces here using the extrude command once again. Okay, so this is extrude. Okay, so if you're going to use a command multiple times, you can double click. If you're going to use it more than once, so we're going to double click on extrude. Okay, here's our profile. Here's our direction, or we can pick Z if we want, right? Let's go ahead and pick this edge for direction. Okay, oh, I'm in the wrong geoset, so I'll come back and fix that. Okay, so the height, 0.75, I believe. We'll see right now if it matches up. Preview. Yep, there it is, 0.75. I'll come back and move the geosets or move the surfaces to the correct geoset. Okay, hit OK. And since I double clicked on extrude, it's waiting for the next one. Okay, so once again, line command. And we can pick the edge of a surface, okay, for direction. So this is a linear edge here, so pick it. There it is again, 0.75. Okay. Go to the next one. Pick this edge, 0.75 again, and okay. All right, so once we're ready to exit this command, extrude command, we can either click on the icon or click cancel to exit. There it is. So let's go ahead and move these to the correct place. So I'm going to hold on to the control key and select the 3 new extrudes. Okay, then I'm going to right click, cut and paste. Cut and paste it under surfaces and paste. And there they are. All right, it did relabel them, but that's okay. All right, so now we're going to go in the opposite direction. Okay, so I'm going to change direction because this is a tough area. So actually, you know what? Let's get it out of the way now. This is a tough area. We're going to go ahead and do this part first. We're going to have to stop here. This is probably the most difficult part. We're going to do this area. And then we're going to go back around and work our way in this direction. All right. So let's go ahead and draw this. Okay, so we're going to have to draw this line. Now, we don't know the length of this line. We can do a little bit of math, but we're going to start by drawing a sharp corner instead of this round fillet. We'll make it look like this one. They happen to line up. As you can see, they line up. This one lines up with this one. Okay, so we're going to go in 0.50. Okay, so we'll go 0.50. And we'll draw this one, 0.50 also. All right, so we actually only need to draw one line, so we don't need to draw the top. We'll go 0.50, and then we'll do a surface. Then we'll do this surface, and then do a fillet. All right, so let's go 0.50 for this line, and then we'll do the arc. We'll do the fillet on the surface. Okay, so let's do 0.50. All right, so let's go with line command. Let me go isometric view. There it is. Okay, so line command. And from here, this point in direction. Point direction. And we're going to go in the X direction. Okay, and let's reverse it. And we'll go 0.50. And okay. Now we know there's supposed to be an arc here. We'll come back and fix that. Let's go ahead and do an extrude. Okay, so let me right click on surfaces. Right click, define. Let's create that surface. We'll do extrude again. Extrude. Pick your line for your profile. Pick the edge for direction. It remembers the 0.75 is the last input. And okay. All right, so now we're going to go in this direction. The problem is we don't know how long this is. Okay, so we're just going to guesstimate. Typically, when I'm not sure how much length to use, I always overshoot. It's better to have more surface than not enough. Okay, so we're going to overestimate. We don't know what this length is. And we're not going to be able to know till we create this surface, which is difficult. So we'll come back to this one later. Okay, so we're going to create this surface. Make it look like this one. So we're going to make this corner look like this one back here. And then we'll round it off. Okay, so this length is hard to tell. Maybe 150, maybe less than 150. Okay, if we want, we can go 2 inches. We can always readjust it. Okay, so let's create this surface and we'll make it a length of 2. That's way more than enough. Again, so we're guesstimating the length. Okay, so let's extrude again. Extrude. And when I extrude, I'm going to use this edge this time as my profile. I'm going to go in the Y direction, or I can simply pick this edge. Okay, there it is. Maybe 1 inch is more than enough, but let's go 2 and preview. Whoa, that's more than enough. Okay, so I'll leave it up to you. I'm going to overshoot and just go 2. We can always go back and adjust it. Preview and okay. And there it is. All right, so let's go ahead and round this off with the fillet. So let's use the fillet command. Okay, so we have a fillet of radius 0.25. Okay, so we're going to take this sharp corner and turn it into a fillet. Radius 0.25. Okay, so there we are. Okay, so now it's time to introduce you to fillet. Okay, so fillet, here we go. Fillet. It's not fillet, like filet of fish. It's fillet. Okay, say it fast. You don't want to be at work saying, oh yeah, what's the radius on that fillet? No, you want to say fillet, right? Say it fast. Okay, so let's go to fillet, and here it is. So this is shape fillet. If you go to the drop down, there's actually a few options. So this is if you're going surface to surface, which we are. This is if we're picking an edge of two surfaces joined together. So we're actually looking at two separate surfaces, so we need to pick the first one. Okay, so these are two separate surfaces. Later on in one of the tutorials, we're going to learn how to join items. It can be joining curves, joining surfaces. If these two were joined as one using the join command, then we would have to pick this second fillet, edge fillet. We would pick the edge to fillet. But since these are two separate surfaces, we're going to pick the first one, which is shape fillet. Okay, so shape fillet, you're going to go with two surfaces. All right, so first support. So that's the surface. There's our first one. And now it's asking for our second support. So read the bottom left corner for directions. So it's asking for the second support. That's the second surface. Okay. Now, let's take a look at this. Let's hit preview, see what we get. But first, I forgot to type in the radius of 0.25. Okay, and we're going to go preview. And it doesn't like it. Okay, so I got an error message. Okay, there's a 50-50 chance that you're going to get an error message. Okay, so let's hit OK. And it's telling you to go back and fix it. Okay. Okay, let me look at it from the top view. Let me just rotate it from here. So if we look at it from the top, notice the arrows. So if we're going to fill it here, we want the red arrows pointing towards the center of the arc. Okay, so this one's pointing inward, right? This was pointing in the wrong direction, so we need to flip it. Okay, so that they're pointing inside. Okay, so they're both pointing inside. Let's hit preview again. Notice this time it does work. So you can see it's creating the fillet. So this is going to be a headache. There's a 50-50 chance one of them is going to be pointing in the wrong direction and you're going to be getting frustrated with fillets. Make sure they're both pointing inward. Okay. And you just simply click the red arrow. All right. Just click on it to change direction. Okay, so it is preview again. There it is. Okay, now let's talk about trim. So notice these are on. Trim. That means it's going to trim off the excess. So these back areas here that are kind of grayed out, it's going to trim off. If you turn off these options, right now they're on. If you turn them off, it'll keep the new surface and keep the old extended surfaces. Okay, but we don't want these anymore. We just want the final result here. And we want to trim this off. So that's why the trim option is activated. Okay, and hit OK. Notice it trimmed off the excess because we had the trim options on. All right, so there it is. There's our fillet. Okay, now you're wondering what happened to that excess, right? Because this surface was longer, so was this one, and it removed the excess. Notice it grayed them out. Here they are. They're grayed out. They are in the background. So the surfaces, the long ones, the original ones that were trimmed off, here they are. They're grayed out, and all you have to do is go to the background, and there they are. So if you ever need to go back, bring this back or fix it or something, you can always go back to the no-show layer. But it's back there. Those are the parents, okay? So these two are, which are grayed out, they're hidden. They are the parents of these three now. Okay. If those parents are deleted, then these can no longer exist because these are the dependents or the children. Okay, let's hit isometric view. All right, so let's go ahead and build the back part now. Okay, this is going to be difficult. I'm going to save that for last. That's where a lot of you are going to get stuck. All right, so let's build the back area. Okay, so let's go back, the back edge. So we already have this line. So let's go ahead and continue on here. All right, so I'm going to draw this line. Okay, and then we're going to do the arc. Okay, so this line, actually, no, it's probably easier to make the arc first and then connect with the line. All right, so the overall length is 425. So I'm going to work my way this way instead. Okay, since I already have this line here. Okay, so this height is 0.75. So here's the height, 0.75. And then we're going to draw an arc with the radius of 0.75. Okay, so once again, 0.75. Okay, so let's use line, point direction. So let's go ahead and click the point. And we're going to go in the Z direction. Okay, and it's 0.75. And preview. And okay. There it is. And I'm in the wrong geoset. Okay, so it's supposed to be in this geoset. Right click define. Now we can drag. So I'm going to left mouse click. Or I can just right click, cut and paste. Either one will work. And drag. And there it is. It dropped in. Click and space to deselect. There it is. And again, if yours are out of order, it's okay. I'm not going to take points off. I'm just trying to get you guys to get organized. So when you're out there in the real world, you don't get in trouble for lack of organization. All right, so now let's locate the center of the hole. Okay, so let's go back. So we need to locate the center. So we just drew this line. So now we're going to go in, locate the center, and it's 0.75, right? I should put this in parentheses as a reference because we're double dimensioning. There it is again, 0.75. So the distance from this edge to the center is 0.75. Same thing in the background. Okay, so 0.75. And you could have done it here also on the front or the back. Either way is fine. Okay, so let's locate that center. Use line command. Point direction, point. I'm going to go in the Y direction. We're going to reverse it. And again, it's 0.75. Preview. Okay, so there's the center of the circle. And okay. Okay, so here's the center. All right, so we're going to place a circle here. Okay, so we're going to use the circle command. Okay, so to draw a circle, you do need a plane to draw it on. All right, so this is our plane. In our case, or my case, it's the YZ plane. If you didn't have a plane here, let's say this plane was someplace else and you did not have a plane, you can always create one. So let me show you how to create a plane, just in case you were not lined up with YZ. Okay, so I'll leave it in wireframe. Okay, so I'm going to use the plane command. Okay, so click on plane. Okay, there's different ways of defining a plane. You can use two lines. You can use these two or these two. Okay, so I'm going to define my plane using two lines. Okay, so I'm going to pick this line and this one. That's one way to define a plane, and there it is. By the way, if you were to left mouse, click and hold on move, you can translate it. right? So there it is. I'll just leave it in the default position, which is the midpoint of this line, the first line we selected, and okay. Okay, so we can draw a circle on that plane, or we can do it on the YZ plane. Okay, either one will work. Okay, I'll use my new plane. So we're going to go with circle command. See if I have it on that visual. There it is, circle command. Okay, circle. Okay, there's different ways to define your circle. All right, so I'm going to go with center, radius, and support. Okay, so I'll pick the first one, center and radius. Okay, so this is my center point. Okay, now notice it's asking me for a support. That's the plane. Or it can also be a surface. Okay, so my support is the plane. There it is. It's already giving me a preview. And I can pull on the green arrows to increase the radius. I can also change the angle. In this case, right now, it's showing me a preview of an arc. Right now, the arc is the default. I can say, hey, I want a full circle. There it is. Okay, so actually, I think I was looking at the wrong number. Let's go back. The size of the hole, I'll come back to the arc. Let's do the hole first. The hole is 0.75. Okay, so let's go to 0.75. Okay, so diameter 0.75 for the hole. So I don't want to do the math. So instead of radius, I can click on radius button, change it to diameter. Again, click on diameter, it'll go to radius. Click on radius, it'll go to diameter. And it's 0.75. And preview. And we're going to pick the circle option. So it'll fill it up, right? Complete circle and not an arc. And preview and okay. So there's the circle for the hole. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the length. Okay, so the length is 2.63. So this is 2.63. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw the hole length 2.63. Okay, so we're going to extrude. Once again, extrude. And it's 2.63. 2.63. And preview, and there it is. We have the hole, 2.63. And okay. So I didn't pick a direction. So it's just going normal to the circle. So that's the reason I'm getting this warning. Okay. Okay, so it just decided to go normal to the circle. I can always pick a support for direction or a line or the X direction. So if I go back and double click, notice I didn't pick a direction. So the default is normal. So that was the warning it was giving me. I can always say, hey, go in the X direction to play it safe. So that's the reason for the warning. So now I have a direction, right? And okay, and I shouldn't get the error message anymore. There it is. All right, so there's the hole. Okay, another way of drawing a cylinder. So we do have a cylinder command. I'll come back and fix this. This is in the wrong location. Let's go ahead and get it out of the way now. So we have this extrude. I can just left mouse click and drag, or I can right click, cut and paste. There it is. All right, so another way of creating a cylinder is if you have an axis. So let's say we wanted to draw a cylinder along this axis. Okay, so this is not part of the assignment, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to cylinder. I rarely use cylinder. I like to do extrude. Okay, so if we go to extrude and go to the drop down, you'll have more options, and cylinder I think is one of them in here. Okay, so let's go back. So go to extrude, go to the drop down, and yes, there it is. We have cylinder. Okay, so if I pick cylinder and I pick, let's say I pick this point, then I'll pick this as my direction. If I pick this point, and this line is my direction or my axis. Notice it's already generating a cylinder. And we can type in the radius, right? And the length in each direction. Okay, so that's another way of generating a cylinder without having to draw a circle. Okay, I'll just go ahead and cancel that. All right, so let's go back. Okay, so we need to draw this arc. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw that. And this is a 180 angle arc with the radius of 0.75. So let's go back and use the circle command. Okay, so let's do it again. Circle command. We're going to pick the same center as before. There it is. And the same support, the plane. Again, you can also pick the ZY plane, right? That'll work. And we can use the green arrows to change the radius. So this time we are going with radius. Okay, so I'm going to type in a radius of 0.75. Preview. There it is, but we want an arc. We don't want a full circle. So let's go with arc. And once again, you can adjust the angle. Okay, so obviously this is 0 and 180. Okay, so it's going to be 0 and 180. So for the start, we'll type in 0 degrees. And for the end, we'll use 180, which is half of 360 degrees, and preview. And there's our semicircle or arc. Okay, and hit OK. And there it is. And it's in the wrong geoset. Okay, so I can always right click, cut, paste it into the wireframe. And click and space to deselect. Okay, there it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and do an extrude. Same as this length, which is 2.63. 2.63. Okay, so let's extrude. And I lost extrude. That's because we're in cylinder. We have the cylinder on. So let me go to extrude. There it is, extrude. If you don't find extrude, you can always go to insert and go to surfaces and look for extrude. There it is. This is the long way of doing it, but you know it's there. All right, so direction. We're going to go normal to the plane, or we can say X direction, right? And there it is, giving us a preview. Again, it's 2.63. And okay, there it is. And we'll come back to this back side. I want to focus on this for now. All right, so let's go isometric view. There it is. Okay, and again, we'll come back to the back side. If you want to go ahead and fill that first, go for it. Okay, let me focus on this side now. Okay, so we can go ahead and create this surface. All we have to do is simply grab the edge of the semi-cylinder and just extrude downward. 0.75. Okay, so let's go back. So I'm going to take this edge and extrude downward. 0.75. Okay, so let's extrude. Okay, so I already selected the profile. Now it's asking for direction. Okay, let me reverse that. Reverse. There it is. Okay, we know it's 0.75. You can always say up to element. Okay, so let's try something different. Instead of typing in 0.75, I can say, you know what? I want to go up to an element. Well, what element do you want to go up to? Let's see if I can pick that point. And there it is. It went up to the point. You can go up to a surface. You can go up to a plane, up to a edge. Okay, so I went up to a point. And preview, and it accepts it. And okay, there it is. Okay, we're almost there, right? Shouldn't say almost there, but we got a lot done. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the back side. Okay, so let's go to the back side. Let's hit isometric view again. Okay, so now I'm going to connect the top here. Okay, I'm going to do some surfacing next, but let's go ahead and complete this. So let's use the line command and go point to point, and connect this point to that one. Okay, and hit OK. And it's in the wrong place. Right click, cut, and paste it into wireframe and paste. Okay, so now we can do the back side. Okay, so we're going to use fill command again. So let me rotate so we can go to the back side. Okay, so here's the back side. And once again, we can always use the compass to rotate. See how easy it is? All right, so let's go ahead and fill this back area. Use the fill command. And start with any edge. Just make sure you go in order. Let me start with this horizontal. Click, click. Again, don't miss any of the lines or edges. Go in order, or there it is. We got the close contour message in cyan. So hit preview. There it is. Now, there should be a hole here, right? We want a hole in this area. We don't want to close off this hole. So now there's an option for islands. Let's see. There it is, inner boundaries. Okay, so if I click over to inner boundaries, I want to say, hey, I want to stay out of this circular boundary. Okay, so go to the inner boundaries tab and click, hit preview, and see how it adds the hole to that new filled surface. Okay, there it is. We're good and okay. All right. Okay, so let's move on to the tougher part. We're almost there. Okay, so this is the difficult area. Okay, this is where students tend to get stuck. Okay, so this surface has a radius of 1 inch, and it's using that same axis as the hole, and also the same axis as this semi-cylindrical surface. Okay, so this center point is for the hole, the arc, and this arc here. Okay, so we're going to go with the 1 inch radius and draw this line. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back. Okay, so there's that surface over here, and it's going to connect with this one. Okay, notice there's a gap. All right, so now we don't have a point here. It's actually back here, but that's okay. We can create a new point. Okay, so I'm going to say, hey, I want a point at the center of that circle. So let's pick circle. Circle or sphere, it'll give you the center, also ellipse center. Okay, and pick a circle. If you don't pick a circle, it'll give you an error. Let's say I pick a line. It's like, hey, that's not a circle. All right. Let's go back. Click where it says circle, sphere, or ellipse. Pick the edge. There it is. And now I got the point. There's the point. And hit OK. All right, so it's in the wrong geoset. So once again, right click, cut, paste it into wireframe. All right, so we're going to draw an arc here based off of that point, but I'm going to have to put a plane there. Okay, so let's put a plane on this circle. Okay, so we're going to go plane. And we're going to go through planar curve. Okay, so we're going to go through planar curve. So we're going to insert a plane through planar curve. So we can pick this curve or that curve, as long as it's not a line. Okay, so either the arc or the circle will work. There it is. It added a plane. And okay. Okay, so on that plane, and let's go ahead and move it to the right place, the wireframe. Cut, paste into wireframe. Click and space to deselect. Okay, so we're going to draw an arc on that plane. Okay, so let's go to circle command. Circle command. We're going to pick that same center. There it is. And our support is the plane. Okay, so we're going to guesstimate the location of that arc. So once again, we're going to draw this arc. But we don't know the length or the angle. So we're going to overshoot and extend it, create more than what we need, which is okay. So we'll make it a little bit larger than it's supposed to be. We can always go back and trim it back later. Okay, so the arc, it's somewhere around here. Let me fix the radius. The radius is 1 inch. So this is a 1 inch radius arc. Preview, there it is. So that's where it actually goes. But we don't know the angle of this arc. Okay, so I'm going to overextend it. Play it safe. Okay, preview. Again, I don't know what angle, so I'm just guesstimating and I'll overshoot. Make sure you type in 1 for radius and okay, there it is. Okay, it's in the wrong geoset. Right click, cut, and paste into wireframe. And click and space to deselect. Okay, there it is. All right, so now we're going to do that surface, that partial cylindrical surface. Okay, so we just drew this edge, but we overextended on both sides, and now we're going to generate the surface, and then we'll trim off the excess. All right, so let's create this surface. Okay, so we're going to extrude, just to show you we need to go beyond this surface. So we're going to overshoot, and we can always split back or trim back. Okay, so let's use extrude. It's going in the wrong direction. There it is, and there it is. Okay, good. Okay, this is more than what we need. Let me shorten this a bit. Okay, so we can either overshoot and trim back, or we can say, hey, we want to go up to this existing surface. Okay. You can do the math from the handout, or I can say, hey, I want to go up to a surface, up to an element. And let's see if it accepts it. So we want this new surface, which is currently showing in red because we're updating. See if it'll let me go up to this. Oh, because of the fillet, it's not allowing it. So I can say, okay, just cancel. So we'll just overshoot. So let's go back to dimension for our first limit, dimension. Just overshoot. It's okay. And all right. So letting me know, hey, we're going normal to the curve. Okay. Let's go back. Double click on it to change it. So see how it says, hey, direction, we just went normal to your profile. But let's go ahead and change it to X direction just to keep it safe, even though it did work. And let's reverse. There it is. Now notice there's a gap here. We got to close off that gap on the limit number 2. Let's close it to 0. We don't want a gap there. Hit preview, 3, 2, 1, preview. There it is. It's touching the arc. And okay. All right, so there it is. Let me hit isometric view. Bam, there it is. Okay, so this is overextended. This is overextended. So we're going to use each one to trim. If we have issues trimming, then we can always use planes. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's remove this portion, and we're going to use this to split with. Okay, so let's use the split command. Okay, so let's introduce you to split. Okay, so this is split. Make sure you use the horizontal one, not the vertical one. If you were to use the vertical one, it splits and joins in one shot. It's 2 commands in one. We just want to do a simple split. All right, so let's go back. Okay, so once again, we're creating this surface and this surface, except right now they're extended. Okay, so we're going to fix this area by splitting. All right, so let's take this surface and we're going to split it with this one. See how it splits it back? Ta-da! But you know what? We need to also split this portion and this portion. So let me cancel I'm going to add some planes. So I'm going to add a plane normal to this edge, put it up here, and then we'll put another one here to trim off the top and bottom also. We're going to do it all in one shot. Okay, so let me add planes. And we're going to say plane normal to surface, or my mistake, normal to curve. Okay, so we're going to create a plane normal to curve. So this is our curve. And it defaults to the midpoint, but we want the top endpoint, and hit OK. And we also want a plane at the bottom. So let's use plane again, plane command. Pick normal to curve. It doesn't have to be a straight line to be a curve. It can be a spline, for example. And we'll pick the bottom endpoint. There it is. And OK. And they're both in the wrong geoset. So I'm going to hit Control key. Hold on to the Control key. Select my two new planes. Then I'm going to right click, cut, and paste it into wireframe. All right. This is a little tedious having to go back and move from geoset to geoset, but this is the way you do it at work. You want to stay organized. It's important later on when you want to go back and fix something. It's just easier to find. Just think of it as a folder in your backpack. All right, so let's trim again. So split. We're going to split the surface with this one and our two new planes. Okay, so let's go back to split. We're going to split this extended surface with this one. Okay, so our cutting element, so we're cutting this long cylindrical surface. We're going to split it with this surface. You can always go other side, right? Or you can always click the portion you want to keep. Hey, I want to keep this portion. Okay, and we can pick more than one cutting element. Notice it's cutting elements. Okay, so we can say, hey, we want to remove this top portion. So pick the plane. See, remove that portion. You can always flip it. Nope, not this portion. And now we need to also remove the bottom portion. Okay, so now we're going to use a third cutting element, which is the lower plane. There it is. See how it's removing all this excess. And hit OK. And there it is. Okay, so we're almost there. This is the toughest part of this whole assignment. Let me hit isometric view. That's the toughest part. Now we can remove this excess with this surface, with our new trim surface. Okay, so let's use split again. Split. So we're going to split this one now. Notice how it highlights this whole thing. When we used the fillet command, it created one surface made up of 3 patches. All right, so we're going to trim this one with this surface, or we can pick the edge. Either one will work. Let's pick the edge. Okay, the edge has to be on the surface or else it will not split, and it happens to be right on the surface, but we want to keep this left side. So keep the left side and remove the excess. Preview. And okay, and there it is. That's the toughest part of this assignment. So now we can go ahead and start closing things off. Okay, so now we need to close this off. So we need to draw a line from this point to that point. Okay, I don't need this arc anymore and it's kind of in the way. So I'm going to just right click and hide it. I can right click and hide it. And it went into the background. See, there it is in the background. So anything that we trimmed or altered, it'll go into the background. These are the parents of some of the children in the visible layer. So these are the children, right? All right, so now we can connect these two right here. Let's go back to the handout. So we're going to connect in this area right here. Okay, we're going to connect this and then we're going to round it off. Okay, so let's connect. Okay, so let's use line command, point to point. Connect, and okay. And let's cut and paste it into the right geoset. Cut, paste into wireframe. All right, so there it is. Okay, now we're going to do a fill here at the top. Make sure you have every single edge. Yeah, we have everything to fill the top portion. All right, so let's go ahead and fill that up. Okay, so we're going to use fill command. And we're going to, I'll start with this line and work our way around. Make sure you don't miss any of the lines. Don't skip any of them. Go in order. So we're filling up this entire top area. Don't miss a single step so you don't get that error message. And cyan, closed contour, there it is. And hit OK. There it is. We closed off the top. We're almost there, right? Okay, so now we can go ahead and do, let me hit ISO view. Let's go ahead and close this off. But before we do, there's something that we're missing. We have a fillet here. I know it's hard to see, but there's a fillet. There's a round. This is not a straight edge. It's a round edge. Let's go back. Okay, so you can see this is a 0.13 radius. Okay, so let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit. 0.13 radius. It goes all the way back. Okay, it goes all the way back from here, right? It's from here to there. All right, so let's do a radius of 0.13. Okay, let me hit isometric view. Okay, let me change the lighting a little bit. View, you don't have to do this part. View, lighting. Earlier I moved my lights around. Oh, I don't see the light. I was playing with them earlier. There it is. This is way too much light. Let me just turn one on. That's good enough. Okay, just needed more lighting. And okay. All right, so let me go back to isometric view and rotate it using the compass. Okay, so we're going to round off this edge. Okay, so we're going to use fillet command. Okay, so fillet. So here's fillet. We're going to use the first one. We're going to go surface to surface. Okay, so pick the first fillet. Okay, so it's asking me for the first support. I'll pick this one first, and I'll pick this one second. And let's hit preview, but let's first type in the radius, 0.13. Preview. It's giving me that error message. Again, there's a 50-50 chance it's not going to come out right. Hit OK. It's because the arrows, see the red arrows? They need to be pointing inward. This one's pointing in the right direction. If you were to translate it down, it would be pointing inward. This one's pointing in the wrong direction. So just click on the arrow, it'll flip it. Okay, now it's pointing inward with respect to our fillet that we're trying to create. Hit preview and it should work. Preview. There it is. There's the fillet. Okay, so once again, 50-50 chance you're going to get an error when you do a fillet. You have to make sure the red arrows are pointing in the right direction. In the fillet tutorial, I'll cover why this happens with the red arrows. It's because the software doesn't know which way you want the fillet to go, and I'll explain that better in the tutorial for fillets. Okay, and hit OK, and there's our fillet. Okay, let me go isometric view. Okay, so let's close this off so we can fill up this area. Use line command. Okay, let's go ahead and close this off. Okay, there it is, using line command, point to point. Close this off, hit OK. And let's move it to the correct geoset, cut, paste into wireframe. Okay, so now we can fill up this area. So now I don't need this line anymore. I can go ahead and just hide it. Don't need it anymore. What I need is this arc on the fillet, right? So we need to use this arc. Okay, so let's go ahead and fill that area. Let's go ahead and go back to ISO view and slightly rotate it. Zoom in. Okay, so let's use fill command again. So you guys should be experts on fill. And I'll start with the top arc and work your way around. I'll go counterclockwise. And hit preview. We got the close contour in cyan. That's good. Preview. And now let's remove this portion of it for the hole. So go to inner boundaries and click the edge of the cylinder preview. There it is. Gave us the hole and okay. Okay, so we do have a hole going all the way through. Everything's closed on this side. Okay, good. Everything's closed in the back. Now we need to close off the bottom. Okay, so we do have a bottom here that we need to close off. Okay, so let's work our way around. Let me hide this line, don't need it, and I don't want to select it by mistake. When we do our fill, I want to make sure I click on these 3 elements. Okay, so once again, we're looking at the bottom portion. So let's fill up this area. All right, so let's do fill. And I'll start with this edge and I'll go clockwise this time just to change things up, make it less boring. Right, pick the edges, work your way around the periphery at the bottom here. So we're filling up the bottom of the box. We're almost there. Again, be patient, go in order. There it is. We have the close contour message in cyan. Preview. It fills it up. Right? And hit OK. And we're almost done. Okay, so all right. So I collapsed the geosets just by hitting the plus sign. All right, and once again, if you ever hit the white branches on a tree, if you click on the white branch, see how it goes dark? It thinks you're trying to alter the tree. You can zoom in and out of it, right? You can pan it to get out of it. Click on a white branch, or on the little XYZ white axis down here on the bottom right. It'll go back to model. Okay, so we're still missing the hole at the top. Okay, so let's locate that and we'll be done. Okay, so let's locate this large diameter hole. Okay, so where is it located? So let's locate the center. So we're going to go from this point, we're going to go 1 in, and then we're going to go in 125. So from this point, go 1, then 125 to locate that point. Okay, trying to think of a quick way of doing this. I think I'm going to have to draw a line and then a line. Or I can go a point and then a line. Okay, I'll think of something. Okay, so we need to go in this direction and then inward. Okay, so once again, let's go ahead and go 1 inch and then 125. Locate that center of that large circular hole. Okay, so let's try something different. Okay, so I'm going to use point command. So I'm going to put a point on a curve. Point on a curve. Yep, line is considered a curve. Okay, so I'm going to put a point on this curve. And I'm going to go 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to type in 1 inch. Preview. There it is. So the point traveled 1 inch. If it's going in the wrong direction, you always have the reverse button, right? We have reverse. Okay, so 1. Since it's linear, the curve, geodesic or Euclidean will give you the same result, same location. Okay, preview. And okay, and there's my point. It's in the wrong geoset. So let's go ahead and cut, paste it into wireframe. All right, so now we're going to go in 125. So I'm going to use the line command, point in direction, line command, point direction, pick your point. And let's go in the X direction. And we're going 125, 1.25. And okay. Okay, so this is 125 in length in the X direction. It's in the wrong geoset. I'm going to cut, paste it in the wireframe geoset, and there it is. Okay, so now we're going to draw a circle on this surface. So this will be our support, the top surface. Okay, so let's draw a circle. Okay, so let's draw the circle. Here's the center point. Oh, I misclicked. Cancel. there's different ways to define a circle. Let me go back to center and radius. So I misclicked. Okay, there's the center. My support is the surface. Okay, it's already showing me a circle. Let's go with the complete circle. And let's go ahead and get that size, 150, 1.50 for the diameter. Okay, so we're going to click. We don't want radius, we want diameter. So just click till you get diameter and type in 150, 1.50, and preview. And make sure it's a full circle. There it is. And okay. There it is. It's in the wrong geoset. Once again, right click, cut, paste it into wireframe. All right, so now we can go ahead and do an extrude in the Z direction. Okay, so let's take this circle. We're going to do an extrude. Okay, so extrude. And we're going to go in the Z direction. Vertical, right? And we can use our green arrows. Okay, so we're just going to overextend. We can go back and look at our handout for the length. But let's just go ahead and overshoot. We can always split it and hit OK. Okay, so now I'm going to take that cylinder and split it with the top and bottom surface. Okay, so let's use split. I'm going to split the cylinder with this top surface. Oh, other way. So I'm going to click other side. There it is. So I want to remove this portion. And then I'm going to also split with the bottom surface. Nope, I don't want this portion. I want the inside. Hit other side. So now it's removing the top and bottom. So we're splitting with two surfaces, the top and bottom. And the extrude 16 is the cylinder. Okay, and okay. So even though we don't see that cylinder, it's in there. Okay, now let's split this top surface with the circle. Take the surface. I'm going to pre-select it, right? It's highlighted. Split with circle. There it is. If you get the wrong side, you can always click other side, right? There it is. And okay. We can see the cylinder inside now. Now we got to split the bottom. Okay, so let's go ahead and split the bottom. Click the bottom surface, pre-select it, hit split, and split the bottom, and okay. And there it is. Okay, looks like we have everything. Okay, this is where you can clean up your model. Okay, I'm going to clean everything up. So I can turn off my wireframe. I can turn off the whole geoset, right click, hide. Ta-da! Now, if I open up my wireframe, even though these are not hidden, because I turned off the whole geoset, it turns off everything in it. Okay, so sometimes you're going to be frustrated. It's like, hey, how come I can't see some of my lines? You know, where's line 1? You're going to be right-clicking and hide show. And it's like, hey, what's going on? It's because the entire geoset is hidden. So if you want to see it again, you can show. There it is. You can also right-click on the geoset. And you can say, hey, I want to hide everything. See how the eyelid is closed? Hide everything in that geoset. Bam, see that? Or you can say, hey, no, I want to see everything in that geoset. Go to the eyeball, show components, right? It shows all the wireframe. Okay, so let me turn off wireframe, hide. Okay, so one good thing to do at the end is to join all these surfaces as one. Okay, so I'm going to create a final geoset before we finish this off. I'm going to create my final geoset and call it final surface or complete surface. Either one will work. You don't have to do this part if you don't want to. Okay, so I'm going to join everything as one, all the surfaces. Okay, so I'm going to join them. Okay, so this is the join command. And we'll talk more about join in the tutorial. So you can join curves to each other. You can join surfaces to each other. So this is the join command. It's a common command in CATIA. Okay, so let's join everything. Okay, so I'm going to join. I'm going to pick all the surfaces, make sure I don't miss any of them. Let's say I'm rushing and I misclick somewhere, or I think I'm done. So yeah, I'm done. Let's say I think I'm done and hit OK. So these are all the elements that you can always right click and remove items. You can clear everything. Okay, you can always do that. You can individually right click and delete an item. Right, clear selection, or you can clear everything. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK, see what happens. So I have a list of all these items that I selected to join. So there it is. It's creating a join and preview. And okay, it's like, oh, what happened? Oh, I missed the other ones. The ones that I did join, the parents are in the background. See, the ones that I did join have slipped into the background because now they're part of this joined vanilla colored surface. So I missed some of them. So let's go back to join, and I'm going to click on the green ones that are missing. Okay, so I can, by mistake, double click and add to the list. Hey, I forgot this surface. I forgot this surface. It's red because it's updating. I forgot that surface. And I forgot the bottom surface. And hit OK. Looks like, oh, missed the surface. Missed this side and this side. Okay, so let's go back, double click, and pick your surfaces. And preview. Looks like I got everything this time. And I want you to notice that I made a mistake. Look at this little error I made right here. I made a mistake. I forgot to fill that area when we created a fillet. Let me hit OK. So I missed that little patch right here. It did include it on this side. See, here it is. I didn't forget about this side, but I forgot about that little patch. You can use fill. And the reason I saw it is because when you do join command, let me double click. See how it highlights in green? So anytime you do a join and you see green, that means there's a gap or an overlap. So that's the reason I was able to spot it. So I need to close that off. So let me cancel. Okay, so I'm going to delete the join and everything should come back, all the surfaces, all the parents that are now in the background. Let me delete this, delete this join, and all the parents should come back. Okay, and they do. See how they all came back, all the individual patches. So I got to fix this rear portion. So what I can do is just hide this surface and recreate it to include that patch right here. So let me go ahead and hide this. I'll just redo it over again. Okay, so let me do the fill command and close off this back portion. So use fill command, and let's go ahead and pick all the edges. There it is, close contour and OK. Notice now it's filled. Okay. I forgot to trim off the hole, so let's double click. Go to inner boundaries and trim off the hole, preview, and OK. Now everything is closed off. So now I can paste it into the surfaces. I'm going to cut and paste this new surface. Paste it into the surfaces geoset. There it is. And now we can join. So that's why I like doing join, because it'll find little gaps. So let's join again, and this time I should get everything in one shot. By the way, you can also window select all the surfaces instead of having to click one at a time, and hit OK. Here it is. Oh, I missed the bottom and the side. Double click on it. Double click. Notice how it's green. It's telling me those edges are open. It's because I forgot that patch and this one. Preview. Notice there's no green lines anymore, telling me there's an overlap or a gap. And okay. Okay, so let me give it its own color. Right click on the geoset, properties, and I'll pick a different color other than green or vanilla. Let's go with tan or brownish color, and okay. There it is. And ISO view. Okay, now a way to guarantee that this is fully closed. It's all surfaces, it's hollow inside. We can turn this into a solid, even though we're not covering solids in this class. Okay, so we are in the generative shape design workbench. I'm going to turn this into a solid just for fun. You don't have to do this part. So let's go to start, mechanical. You may want to save your work before you do this. Okay, so let's go ahead and save it. File, save as. So the box 2021. My CAD 37 folder handouts, the box 2021. Save it. Okay, so I'm going to turn this into a solid for fun. Okay, so I'm going to go into the part design workbench. This is the workbench you were working on or working in CAD 31 and 32, part design. Okay, click on it. You're going to see my icons change. Icons change, right, to part design. And I'm going to use this command called closed. Okay, so we're going to close our surface. Let's see if I can find close. Currently don't see it. Maybe I need to dig out the... Don't see it, so let me go the long way. Here it is, close. Close surface. So the icon is there somewhere. I just don't see it. It's going to be, oh, where the split. Okay, so see how we see split here? So there it is. You go to the drop down here where it says split. So this is split for solids, not for surfaces. Close. So we can go here, close surface. Or once again, go here to split and then go to the pull down menu, pick close surface. So once again, go to the pull down, close surface. Okay, so it's telling me, hey, you forgot to underline or define part body. So it's giving us a warning. So it's going to go from geoset to part body. Okay, so it gave us the warning. And see, it's going to insert it. So it's already updating. Now we pick the surface. So it's the joint surface. So if everything's closed, no gaps, no overlaps, we should be able to turn this into a solid. This is a test. See if it works. Pick your brown surface, your joint surface. And if it accepts it, that means everything's perfect on this surface or the joint. There's no gaps, there's no overlaps of surfaces. And okay. And ta-da! It did create a solid. And you're thinking, I don't see a solid. Well, let's hide the tan brownish surface. We can hide the geoset. Hide it. And there's the solid. Okay. Okay, this is optional. Don't forget to save your work. There's no due date. And if you're having trouble with this handout, go over some other tutorials first. And those will also be posted on the YouTube channel. End of video.